Hello, everyone, and happy Mindset Monday. Welcome to the High Five Club in the PM. What a wonderful day it is to be with you. Have you missed us over the weekend? I know certain people you're wondering, like, what could I have done all weekend? What did you do to work on your mindset this weekend? What was some of the changes that you decided to make in working with your mindset? What were your gifts? What were your visions? What is it that you're really looking to see? Or did you sit around and just hope that you would actually get the right mindset to get up off your assets and begin to really work that thing out? We have found so often that we talk about the things that we're going to do, but what actions? Last week we talked about distractions, and the week before that we talked about visions. But today's subject is going to be especially for you. And I'm going to let Miss Kelly Chieson really come in here and speak on what we're talking about tonight. Kelly?
Uh, you'll see in the post that it says self comparison and mindset. And I think uh, talking about talking about having how to move forward with a growth mindset in the world of social comparison. I actually had a really
Mm,
fantastic conversation today with a gentleman who's doing amazing things. And part of the conversation, I talked about how uh, the struggle that a lot of people have, a lot of us have, or have experienced at some point in time, where whatever you're doing that you know that you rock at, okay, then all of a sudden you know that if you own that space, now people are going to come to you asking questions. They're going to come with their inquiries. They're going to come with A, B, C, or D. And you find yourself then, okay, well, I was pretty secure. I'm real confident with where I am, but you know what? I'm not an expert. And all of a sudden, you start realizing that there are people that know more than you, and you
mm,
let that in. And then it was an interesting aspect, and we were talking about how for this individual, their life's experiences, there's other people that will have similar life experiences. There are people that will sympathize, people that will empathize, people that will say, "Oh, I've had this too," even though it's different. And there are people that are have their doctorates in this and speak everywhere in the world renowned speakers, and maybe have written journals on this, but they still aren't you. So it's after consistent work on your mindset that you grow your biggest belief in yourself, that it doesn't matter that there are people that know more about this, but they don't know about it from in your shoes, right? Um, the three of us are dynamic, amazing people. I mean, really, Samantha, Lester, and I, we are all awesome individuals, and we all bring a lot to the table. But just the same, there are other individuals that bring a crap load to the table and even more, depending on the space. But they're not better than us. And because we've developed such a belief in ourselves and what we're doing, that people can come to us. And we know there are people that are the experts in their own space, but we are dynamic and spot on in our spaces. So I liked this thought. I wanted to surprise my partners. Uh, Self
Surprise!
comparison and mindset. I think this is really an interesting conversation. I loved that it came up today, and I love that we're on here tonight, high fiving the heck out of personal development and mindset and growth. So, Samantha, thoughts?
Ooh, self-comparison can be a very dangerous thing, because it depends on what you're comparing.
Mm.
And
Like what? What do you mean?
well, look, are you comparing yourself to others and saying that they're better than you or you're not good enough? Or are you comparing yourself to them and saying, gosh, I like what they're doing. Maybe I need to do that. Or, hey, I should reach out to this person and figure out how they're doing it. Maybe they'll mentor me. Well, how are you doing it? Are you doing it in a positive way or a negative way? And I find that it's just so easy to get jealous. It's so easy to say, oh, why didn't I think of that? Or, oh gosh, I had the opportunity, but I didn't open my eyes or react fast enough. And it's just, I don't know. I feel that if we don't check our mindset in the mirror, or check ourselves, then what we're doing is we're just simply allowing the default. We're allowing the default, which is the negative, right? So it's okay to see what other people are doing. It's okay that people are going to be steps ahead, because you don't actually know where they are in their life. You only see it from what you see, a perception. You don't know where they've come from. You haven't lived their life, and you don't know the struggles that they face to get to where they are. And I think that's what I've kind of learned over the years, having such a rough life, and a self-confidence issue, and being jealous and being negative about myself, that I started to realize that, hey, why am I really doing that? Well, maybe I'm doing that because I perceive something that's not actually reality. I need to get to know, people and know their whole story, and not make a judgment about that. And it's interesting because I don't know if that's what you're referring to, Kelly, but it's not, it's our place to help you. Like, those people that want to help each other grow. And Kelly always says this with her quote, and everybody calls Kelly out on it, and it's true. But Kelly will tell you the quote. It's Kelly's quote. But it's really this, it comes down to, everyone is going to know something different than you. Like Kelly said, there might be thousands of paralegals, but we don't all do the same thing. We all are skilled in our own way, in our own craft, in our own area. We have different personalities. We're different people. And at the end of the day, you take that and you combine it with the recipe of doing things in a certain way, and you too shall have success. It may not be exactly like somebody, but it can be pretty darn close. But to compare yourself and not understand what that means, well, heck, you could just go right down the rabbit hole and not climb out. And that's a problem, right? That's a negative problem. I hate to say problem. Problem is such a bad word. It's an issue. It's a negative issue that doesn't need to be made negative. So you want to compare yourself? Sure, do it. But do it in a way that's productive. Do it in a way that helps you move forward and not backwards. Kelly, Lester? Lester, Kelly?
I love what you're saying, Samantha, because so many people find themselves looking at what other people do. They're looking from the outside versus what actually happens on the inside. Each one of us are built individually. We're all individually made. It doesn't matter whether you have two ears. Kelly and I have two ears. Whether we have two eyes or an extra pair. Samantha and I have sometimes an extra pair.
8 between the two of you. That's amazing.
Okay. But when you're looking at through the lens of someone, there are people who work so much harder than other people. And you're wondering why they are getting the gifts, the value of what they put into something. Some people work, completely, 9 to 5, and other people work from 9 to 9. And you're like, but I turned around and I did that. There's sometimes people put productive work in, and sometimes people put busy work in. And you still are wondering, why is somebody comparing what I have done? Whereas I may be the greatest at my hands, and Kelly may be the greatest in using strategic skills with her mind, and Samantha may be the best person who can mix all of that up together. How many people have ever turned around and attempted to make a cake, and they can use the same ingredients, but it doesn't come out the same?
Oh,
You know that you've done it. We know that we've all done these things together, but how do you compare people, or how do you compare a situation to anyone else? I remember there was a time when I wanted to lose weight, and I can gain weight walking into the kitchen. I didn't need to eat anything. I just walked into the kitchen and the weight just found me. And other people can walk in the kitchen, clean out the refrigerator, and come to your house and clean out the refrigerator and never gain an ounce. How can you compare yourself to that person? Because the metabolisms are different.
mm,
Me and my mentor, and I love to talk about Gordon. Gordon has been small all his life.
you can eat.
If you put me back to that weight in which Gordon would look like, you would be trying to put me into a hospital. It would be like, wow, there are 50 pounds between us, but yet I'm not I'm not heavy. But it's just how our bodies are made up and metabolisms. When you're looking at a project, I see some people who are Elon Musk. I mean, he is crazy wealthy, yet he worked as hard as Jeff Bezos, and yet Jeff Bezos has more money. What was the difference between what they did? They found the right niche. They put their efforts into the area which best worked for them. So as you're looking at the comparisons, there is no comparisons. Apples will be
No.
apples, oranges will be oranges.
Mhm.
There is no two ways of integrating them together. You know, people have tried, but
It's actually cool,
go
good
ahead.
that you said that, because
Mhm.
it's, how many times when you said there's no two people alike, and it's everyone hears it. I've been hearing it my whole life. There's no two people alike. There's not no two snowflakes are alike. We all know it. But do you ever stop to actually think about it? It's a scientific fact. There are no two people alike. There's no two people alike, no two anything that's exactly alike. So that means the brilliance there is, I'm sorry, Lester, because I loved the crap out of that reminder, because I think people hear it so often they kind of brush it off instead of actually thinking about it and internalizing that the fact that there's no two people alike means that every single human being, every single person has a different set of values, they have a different set of gifts, they have a different set of skills, abilities, and experiences. And so they're all going to be able to bring all of those unique situations and perspectives of their situations and circumstances into wherever they're participating.
Hmm.
And that's a big, big deal.
It's
And
funny.
back to you.
I like it, but it's funny. We all love personal development. Each one of us loves it for a different reason. When you compare to why we got into personal development, it's always going to be different. The book that we always, reference about, Think and Grow Rich, we reference this book all the time. I read this book. Kelly has read this book. Samantha has read this book. And yet we can, each one of us, tell you what part stood out for us. What was that favorite chapter? My chapter, of course, is The Mystery of Sex Transmutation. I absolutely love that because it talked about the personality, and it talked about how you can feel when you're using your personality, how you show up to someone. You know, there's some people who can walk into a room and just be the most brightest person, but where did they get that feeling from? Samantha, one of her favorite chapters happens to be on decision making, the thing that most of us want to run away from because it's like, if I don't make the right decision, well, I can't make this decision because of, well, I'm good at making decisions. And sometimes you don't happen to be correct. Kelly may be looking at desire. What was that desire that she had to have that said so burning that I have to make $1 billion? Everyone still sees this same book and has been, been out there, been talked about, and been in classes, been on the internet, been on cassette tapes, been on audio book. Everybody's going to get something. So you can't compare what is it that you are finding in the same words. There's no change of words. This book is the same book that all three of us have. And you may be out there in the audience and you also may have this book and you found something that says the six ghosts of fear. Why do they use only six? They didn't say that they only use six. He says that there are others, but these are six main ones. What is it that the difference between um, Frank Gonzalez and how about Edwin C. Barnes? They were both in the book. You know, so many people are here. So many stories have been read because everybody's story is different. Kelly, go ahead because I'm getting
Well,
excited.
I know, but like everyone's story is different. It goes back to comparing. Uh, Comparing, in my opinion, is nothing more than an old habit that needs to be taken right out to the garbage and gone. I do believe that when we give up the habit of comparing, then our world changes, because then you do start focusing that on yourself as an individual, and recognizing that you're, with your unique perspective, you're going to start seeing that everyone around you has a unique value, has unique values, has their own purpose for being here. So it's a habit, and it's got to go. It does. It's comparing doesn't serve you, and when you're comparing yourself, it's not allowing you to serve others.
Mm.
So when I discovered viewing it as a habit a long time ago, it made it a lot easier for me to make different decisions. This was in my early 20s. It made it a lot easier, actually quite easy, to make decisions of who I was gonna just remove from my everyday life, right? Not that I wasn't better than them. They weren't better than me. Just I needed to really go a different direction. I wasn't going to be able to do it if I kept hanging around the same kind of people, and realize that I had a purpose. They have their purpose, and I could appreciate different aspects that they had brought into my life. But now it's time to just go a different direction and not compare myself. Oh, so and so's doing this or so and so's doing that. Everyone is where they're supposed to be, because secretly, to themselves, they ask the universe for it, right?
Mm.
Knowingly or unknowingly. So I think, comparisons are like the ifs. They're dangerous, like Samantha said, and they need to go. So, and some people say, oh, I don't compare myself or whatever. Okay, great. But I know people that in the past don't necessarily compare themselves, but they sure love to compare other people to other
Oh,
people.
oh
That's
my
dangerous
goodness.
too. So when you talk about mindset, there's still some of that reflects back on you, because what is it about you that we wouldn't need to compare ourselves to others, but we have no problem comparing other people to other people. So, I don't, that just, this will be interesting. We definitely aren't going to be done talking about this evening, but that's it. I think the comparisons are obstacles, and for any obstacle, when we uh, figure out how we can, remove obstacles in our life, it opens up doors. It opens up opportunities. It opens up the freedom for a whole number of things.
Yeah.
Professor?
Yeah. So two things came to mind when you guys were talking, and one of them was we kind of touched on it, perception of what we're comparing. We're on social media, right? On social media, people tend to post the best of themselves or what they want people to see through a lens that may not be reality. So that's one thing. I could be on the other side of the screen looking at these profiles thinking, oh my gosh, this person is doing amazing. Like, I don't know what people are doing, right? So don't trick yourself, right? Don't be your worst enemy by believing that something is a certain way when you actually don't know. Okay, so that's one thing. And the second thing is, I was thinking, when we compare ourselves, or we compare others, if you do it in a way that is constructive comparison, I actually don't think that that's a negative thing at all. Like, I know I mentioned, yeah, it's negative, but like I said before, if you can find a way to make it positive, and as long as we're willing to look at it with a lens that, okay, I'm willing to look at what I'm doing and analyze it and compare it to someone else that's succeeding so that I can succeed, then it might also be okay to talk to others and coach others to sometimes
that's your
compare
growth
themselves.
mindset.
Yeah,
if you're looking at the coaches and the mentors and the individuals that are doing what you want to do, what you respect, what you admire, right? That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. It's when you start, we talk about this often. It's when you start gossiping, when you start finding ways to point a finger at all the negatives of someone else, but you won't look within yourself. I find that's it's a default setting, you know, where when we choose not to be aware of what we're doing and we just kind of go on cruise control in life, that's what happens. You know, life just goes to negative, or goes to simple, or, you know, not much effort. So yeah, easy to compare, easy to gossip, easy to talk shit about other people. I don't know why I just spelt that out. But, you know, being productive, being constructive, being positive, gosh, you know, it makes the world of difference. You know, it really, really makes the world of difference. And you can tell those that do that. You can tell just by being around them. You can tell that they are, these are people that, you know, yeah, things suck sometimes. But hey, let's find out how to turn something that sucks into something that's awesome.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm loving this conversation because when you look at comparing, Jim Rome once wrote, the same wind that blows on all of us, the winds of disaster, opportunity, and change. Therefore, it is not the blowing of the wind, but the setting of the sails that determine direction in our lives. Which means that no matter how the wind blows, it blows differently on every person. Wallace D. Wattles in the book of the Science of Getting Rich, and I was thinking as you know Samantha was talking, he says, at different periods, the tide of opportunity sets in different directions according to the needs of the whole and the particular stage of a social evolution which has been reached, which is basically stating that if you think in a certain way, and I love, you know, that this, you know, came on my mind. The way that each one of us thinks is definitely different. So how can you compare your brain waves to my brain waves? Why would you want to compare when you have the opportunity to be that individual that stands out? Because you've already, the day you were born, you stood out differently. I was born, you know, weighing a pound and a half. Does that mean that I didn't, that it changed when I went into the kitchen and I had a roast beef sandwich? When I ate beef, don't eat it anymore. Did it change when, you know, when I had vegetarian chili versus a meatful chili? Did it change when I decided to jump off the side of a building as a little kid? And yet, as a grown man, I'd be looking like, if I jump over that building right now, I would probably break my legs and yours too. How did I start seeing, you know, that venture? Everybody has that thing that they want, which is a standout feature about yourself. So always understand it. When Les Brown says you have greatness within inside of you, what does that greatness look like? What are you really hungry for that you want to sit back and look at the way somebody has done this? Now, it is true, if you do the same thing the same way someone else did it, you're going to get the same results. How you feel about those results will change immediately. There is no way in the world that we can feel the same thing. All three of us here can get a brand new car, and it can be the same car. Somebody will be like, this is too much. Somebody will be like, this is just right. I feel like the three bears. So, someone will have a different feeling about what that feeling is going to be when they have it. And it doesn't matter the car, be it if it's a Rolls Royce or if it's a Chevy Chevette. The feeling that you're going to get is what you have valued.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, how do you value yourself when it comes to comparing someone else? It's all about your value. Mamapreneur is back with you.
I'm gonna say like final words here. Believe in yourself.
Okay, now
That's, yeah, it's true. It's
Yeah.
true. That's what it comes to. I'll give you some of my thoughts here. So, um, you know, when you compare yourself to others, it comes down to what your self-esteem is. And usually when you compare yourself to others, you can be your worst enemy, or you can be your biggest cheerleader. And comparing yourself sometimes allows you to put yourself into a category of a low grade, right? And
Yeah.
what that does is it just continually crushes your confidence. So when you are analyzing yourself through others, or what I call a blurry lens, because it's not reality, then you're seeing you're seeing something that's not actually real. You're seeing ugliness when actually beauty shines. Beauty shines. And I'm going to tell you, I've done this, and others will say to me, what the heck is wrong with you? Like, I don't see what you see. You are your own worst enemy. So instead of doing that, practice, and we talk about it with TGR, practice saying positive words about yourself. Practice looking in the mirror and seeing who you really are, as opposed to who you think you are through someone else's lens, through something that may not be reality.
Oh, okay, Lester, hold on. I'm going to jump in here, and then you can
Oh,
close us out.
that's your final
No,
thought?
that wasn't her final. Yeah, it was her
Yeah,
final.
this will be my final thought, because I liked what you said about liked what you said there. And so I think the greatest weapon against self-destruction, negative self-talk, is our ability to choose one thought over another.
Yes. Truth.
Our ability to, animals don't have the ability to change their thought. They can't build anything. They cannot run, as we run. We can set traps that animals can't set. We have an ability to use our thoughts, as Kelly just said. But here's my final thought for you. And it's in a song, and it says, "You're simply the best."
What?
And all the rest.
High five,
I'm like,
everyone.
I can't find that song fast enough. Damn it.
High five. We will be back with you on this tantalizing Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. And make sure you share. Share this to as many people as you can. Thank you again. High five,
High
everyone.
five.